Okay, welcome everyone to an In Conversation with Dementia Community. My name is Emma Smith. I am the project manager with Empowered Conversations, which is a project of Age UK Salford. I'm absolutely delighted to be in conversation today with Barbara and Jude. Thank you so much for giving your time today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
I'm really looking forward to finding out more about Dementia Community. Before we start, if you haven't come across Empowered Conversations, we empower families affected by dementia to live as well as they can by keeping channels of communication and connection open. And we do that by offering communication courses. So we have Empowered Conversations, we have Moving Beyond Words. We offer one-to-one dementia-focused therapeutic support with empowered carers. We do groups and we run regular webinars as well. Our plan for today is that we're going to have a chat, as always. There's going to be an opportunity for any of you who have come along to watch it. So hello and welcome, and thank you for coming along. Always an opportunity for you to ask questions. So you should have a little speech bubble with a question mark in it. That's where you can drop your questions, and I'll make sure that we pick them up at the end. Claire, don't worry. It's lovely to have you on. We'll make sure the first half is the best half. Okay. All right, then. Could I start, please, by inviting you both to introduce yourselves? And can I offer that to you first, Barbara?
Certainly, thank you. So my name is Barbara Stevens. I am Society Secretary for Dementia Community, which is the trading name for Dementia Publishing Limited. And I have a sort of a long history of working in the voluntary sector in the dementia care field, which I can talk more about as we go on, as it's relevant. But that's who I am, Barbara Stevens.
Thank you, Barbara. And Jude?
Yeah, short version for this. So I'm a director of Dementia Community. I trained as a nurse, but spent most of my time in the voluntary sector and done some joint commissioning work in dementia care. And got big passion for the arts, actually, with dementia and what that brings for people. So, yeah, delighted to be here. Juggled along for a long time.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much. So anyone who's not come across Dementia Community, in a nutshell, what is it?
Do you want to start, Jude?
Yeah, I can. So we are a community benefit society, and our purpose is to connect and empower the dementia community, in a nutshell.
And sorry, Barbara, go on.
So if I add to that, the sort of background, if I give you a little bit of a context to it, Dementia Community is as I mentioned, is the trading name for Dementia Publishing Limited. And Dementia Publishing Limited was set up as a community benefit society just over 2 years ago. And it was a response of a number of us in the field of dementia care who were very concerned that the Journal of Dementia Care, the Dementia Congress, UK Dementia Congress, and the National Dementia Care Awards were all at risk, and particularly the journal was at risk because of a drop-off in subscription levels during COVID. And there was a real sense amongst people who we know, people in the dementia care community, that we might lose this valuable resource. So it was a collaborative effort, really, to find a way of sustaining the journal, and with it the Dementia Congress and the National Dementia Care Awards. And obviously we can talk more about that as we go.
Fantastic, thank you. And I came along to Dementia Congress this year. Wonderful, really good experience. I only came for one day, but wow, it was a packed day. It was fantastic. And there's just so much energy in the room and so much enthusiasm for what people are doing. It's fantastic. And I think this year the balance between people affected by dementia and sort of people who are working in this field, that balance was really good. It felt like it was an equal balance. So thank you so much for that. What makes it different then to existing organisations?
Well, as a community benefit society, it's a cooperative, and we're wanting to gather people who have an investment in dementia care in whatever way. So it's really cross-sector. It includes people who are working in care homes, people working in provider organisations in the community, commissioners, academics, and certainly people living with dementia, certainly family carers. So across the board, we're looking to unite the community to take forward these important initiatives, but also to look at what else needs to happen to improve dementia care and to improve awareness of dementia more widely, in order that society is more able to become dementia friendly, dementia inclusive. So it's a movement and it's a cooperative.
Yeah. Can I add a bit to that? So I think in terms, the two words that are important for us are about empowering people to do well. And we know that it's really important for people living with dementia and everybody, the complexity of people who support them as well, to have a platform to share learning and to keep learning at the fore of service improvement. We all know, don't we, how rickety the social care system is out there, especially for people living with dementia and their carers. It's very difficult, it's choppy to navigate. It is not really what people deserve. And dementia means that you need to have a joined up, tied up system of social care, health care, third sector support, the whole bundle together. So I think we differ from other organisations in that that's the platform we're trying to create in a very inclusive way. What's been really interesting from starting up is, we've got quite an experienced board of actually mainly more aging professionals, I would say, old people like us, really, who kind of want to keep things going, but recognizing that inclusion is immensely important in the UK now, both from the health inequalities perspective, but recognizing dementia as a disability, which is just one reason for, to experience health inequalities. The intersectionality of people is immense. People often have more than one protected characteristic as well. And so it's important to us to work very hard at this. And this is completely new, really, since our change of structure, for us to make sure that everybody is welcome and there's space for everybody, and to create safe spaces for people to learn and share about difficult things. At the Congress, we often have family carers who are there, very raw, really, and people living with dementia who've had very choppy experiences. And it's really important that people feel emotionally safe there or wherever they are with us, really.
So there's so many things that you've both said there that I want to focus on. One was, I suppose, at a time when people need health and social care to be a smooth path, quite often, like you say, you use the word choppy. It does feel choppy. People have to go out and they have to search for resources or support that they might need. It's not easy to navigate. Even within Salford, it's very fragmented. We've got Age UK Salford, we've got the Alzheimer's Society. There's lots of different, and it's really difficult for people. And I just wondered, is that going to be a focus for some of your work to make that an easier sort of pathway for people to get the support that they need, rather than having to fight for the support they need?
Do you want to answer that, Babs, or shall I?
You go.
So we're not a service provider, and we're very, I suppose, in a sense, we're very startup, because we could see the opportunity of expanding on the offers of the awards, the Congress and the journal. Our focus is hugely learning. We don't see ourselves as being direct signposting to services, but we could see ourselves creating networks that go into localities with people who find that, that it's interesting for them to do that. So I think it's, while we would see ourselves as empowering people to make their local services better, we would certainly be engaging in a dialogue with them about how best to do that, because obviously people have different community ecosystems, really, where they actually are. It's not all the same, is it, everywhere? Do you want to add to that, Barbara?
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose the important thing about what we can offer as a community benefit society is a platform for people to connect with each other and to understand where the gaps, issues are, and find solutions to, or possible ways forward for addressing those issues. So it's about being able to connect people together to share their experiences, to identify where work needs to be done to improve a situation in any locality or nationally, and then for us to support that action. So we're more of a resourcing organisation, and offering people the opportunity to raise issues that concern them, and that can be, on a really micro level. It can be on, individuals concerned about issues they're facing in their own lives, or organisations, or more at a system level. So there's a lot of system change at the moment, a lot of system churn, and that's something we need to keep abreast of, and we need to support everybody in the community to understand. So we reduce, silo working, and there's more integration and more of a kind of collective understanding of the way the whole field is moving. So yeah, I mean, I think yes is the answer to your question. Obviously, we would like to see less fragmentation, more joined up, more approaches that are joined up, more services that are joined up, and where there are massive gaps, and we would like to see, obviously, our ambition would be to see those addressed, but we can't, as a small organisation, take all of that on, but we can resource it, we can provide the platform in order for those kinds of initiatives to take off.
Absolutely, and it feels like the journal is one platform for that. You've got the Congress, which is another platform for talking about that, and then that membership offer where you're bringing together like-minded people. What else would a member get from Dementia Community?
So the membership is really an important part of this. As a community benefit society, it's a society that's owned by its members. So there is a board. Jude's on the board. I'm the society secretary. So that's, oiling the wheels and making it all work as an organisation, making sure that we report appropriately, and we generate accounts, and all of those things that are really important as a fundamental to any organisation. But as a registered society, we are owned by our members, and there are two types of members. There's community members, which you'll be familiar with because we launched this at the Congress last year, and community membership. So it's a bit like the co-op, really. It is a cooperative, and you pay £1 and you become part of our cooperative, and therefore you have a share, a community share in the organisation, and as such a voice and a vote. So that's fundamental to the structure of our organisation. And then we have investor members. So these are ethical investors, people who are willing to buy shares, community shares in the organisation, because they believe in what we do, and they're prepared to put some money behind enabling us to build capacity in the work that we're doing. So we have these two types of members. It's one member, one vote. So if you're a community member, you get one vote. If you're an investor member, you get one vote. And we have an annual general meeting, and that's where priorities and decisions are made about the overall direction of the society. And as a member, as an investor member, subscription to the Journal of Dementia Care is free for as long as the investment is in the organisation. So that pays itself back to an investor member at the minimum level in 3 years. And obviously investors can invest whatever amount of money they wish to. And that's fundamental to our model. You know, we need people to support what we do. And community members would get a discount on their subscription to the Journal of Dementia Care. And then there is a news feed. So the Journal of Dementia Care, our website is journalofdementiacare.co.uk. And on that website, there is a news feed, which is really rich in content. And community members have access to that. A regular newsletter and webinars. And there will be many, many more things. As we develop and grow, our members will tell us what benefits are going to be useful to them. So it is for our members to direct the way we develop the organisation and to really tell us what's going to be important to them. But at the moment, the opportunity to learn and to share is key to the way we're moving forward. And the journal is obviously the cornerstone of that, and the Congress.
It really sounds that co-production is at the core of what you're offering. Any thoughts on that, Jude?
Well, yes, it is definitely, and I think it was really heartening. I mean, we were last year at the Congress, the second Congress since COVID, essentially, and just a step up actually from the first Congress since COVID. Between the amount of co-production with people living with dementia and family carers was much higher, which was really great. And also, one of the things I've valued over the years from going to Congress was sort of cutting my teeth in terms of the presentation opportunities. A lot of people who present at Congress aren't seasoned presenters by any means, and I think that's part of being collaborative and supportive in people's personal development and the journey of their career, hopefully career in dementia. I mean, one of the things that we're launching now is the Jobs and Opportunity Board, which is aimed at helping to develop and secure a sense of career pathway within dementia care, which is quite, again, a very patchy experience for people. And we know that a lot of people stumble into dementia care. They don't actively choose it. It's still regarded as a bit of a poor relation by many people in health and social care. Whereas, on the other end of the scale of that, we've got loads of people who are deeply passionate about dementia care and have found it a massively fulfilling place to be. So, and particularly, I guess in the care home community, which we have very good relationships into already, where recruitment is a constant issue. The churn in care homes is huge. There's a real problem on recruitment, and for lots of underlying reasons. It's not going in a particularly good direction in health or social care for that. So we're feeling that supporting people to have a leadership role in terms of how they approach recruitment and think about doing it differently, and the opportunity of having a jobs board will give us that space for recruiters to come on to showcase their businesses and companies as to what they can offer people in their dementia service, and to help that whole aspect of what we're doing come together better for people, really.
Brilliant, thank you. And I was just thinking, when you were talking about community membership, sorry, I'm rewinding a little bit, is that open to families as well? So anyone affected by dementia? So yeah,
it's open to anybody at all. I mean, that's the idea, really, is that whoever you are, if you have a concern or an interest in dementia and dementia care, then join the community. And the answer to the question about what can anyone do to help at the very, very basic level, joining the community just for £1. That's all we're asking. And you're part of our number. You're part of, part of a movement of people who want to make a difference in this space.
Wonderful. Thank you. How many members have you got at the moment, and how many do you want?
Well, we want thousands. So at the moment we've got less than 1,000, and we want many, many more than 1,000. So yeah, it's early days. When we started the Community Benefit Society, we thought about, well, what's going to be the model, really? How are we going to drive this forward? How are we going to generate a sort of ownership and a sense of belonging to this movement? Because that's the only way we really saw this would work. We didn't want to set up another charity or a business or a CIC, because in a way, Dementia Community, the Journal of Dementia Care, one of the real strengths of the journal and the Congress is that it's not supporting any one organisation. It's there to support all organisations and to bring organisations and individuals and people, anyone with an interest in dementia, together to talk about what matters to us all and how we make a difference. So we wanted to find a model that brought people together and helped people feel like they were part of something. But the community membership element of it is new, in that we only launched it last November at the Congress, and so we're still building community, and it's taking a while for people to really understand it. Sort of what is this? I've got to pay £1. What do I get for my £1? And it's not necessarily what you get for your £1. It's actually what it means in terms of being part of something that has such a lot of potential.
Yeah, and it invites people to contribute if they wish to, separate from their organisational setting, if they wish, or part of that. Either way, really.
It almost feels as if it's harnessing the energy that you get around Congress, and it is an amazing energy. If anyone, if you haven't been, if you can go, get down there, because it is just such a vibrant energy. There's enthusiasm. There's the people are sharing best practice. This has changed. HC1 Scotland, their story that they're coming on actually in a webinar in a few weeks, just because I love their presentation so much. It's like, come and tell everybody. And it really feels that this switch almost enables you to roll out that energy. So it's not just around Congress, it's around something bigger, something everyday, something that everybody can get involved in.
And it completely depends on people contributing, people saying, this is what we need, or we could try this, or let's experiment with this, or this is a need I have to find partners with this project. It absolutely depends on people coming forward and contributing. So that was the spirit we're trying to engender, really.
Yeah, and in fact we know it's already there, because people turn up to Congress specifically to seek people out to collaborate with in some cases. Others come just to be immersed and to try and choose from our exciting program what to go to, so it meets a number of needs for different people on different levels. So it's developing people in every way being there, and there's such a massive need for people to be sustained. It's hard work. It's not easy work ever, really. I don't think. You can have a bit of simplicity from moment to moment, but underneath it all there's a massive complexity. To make things even simple can be really, really difficult. So in terms of giving people inspiration and recharging batteries, and we hope that the journal does that for people who like to read, but we know everybody doesn't. The webinars will do that in a different space and will be more regular, obviously, than Congress. But Congress, we have quite a number of serial attenders to Congress. Not always, but people go there because it's an oasis of inspiration and a battery recharge. In a way it should be more like a retreat. I guess. In some ways it is, I suppose, but yeah, retreating with a purpose.
It's like an intensive retreat where you're like going to get, it's great because you're going to get recharged, but really,
yeah, you go home exhausted, but like buzzy. Yeah, which is great, you know.
And I love that idea, you know, so from an organizational perspective, I might be trawling LinkedIn or Twitter thinking, who can I partner up with? Oh, they're saying the right thing. Oh, let me have a chat with that. You actually make that a lot easier for me. So if I just became a member, I could be saying to you, oh, I really want to talk to this type of person, someone who's interested in this. And you could then sort of facilitate that.
Yeah. And we'll get better at that. You know, it's still early days, but the idea of having being able to do this, you know, via sort of like a web-based platform, which is an idea we have in the pipeline, as well as many more events. So in-person events, online events, you know, there's lots of potential. And I think it's really important what Jude said about not everybody reads journals. So we're trying to remove any barriers to learning and allowing people to learn, enabling people to learn in ways that are appropriate to their work setting and their own needs. And so looking at things like podcasts, I mean, we're quite close to getting podcast series off the ground. And we know from talking to people that a lot of, you know, busy care professionals learn that way much more easily than they do, you know, reading a journal. So we're looking at lots of different ways in which we can make learning and sharing more accessible.
Fantastic. Have you got any, I know it's early days, but have you got any positive stories that stand out already from this change in direction?
Well, I can immediately think of one sparkling moment, which was last year at the Congress, when we were actively promoting community membership and explaining to people that just for £1 they could join our community. There was a man living with dementia who came up to talk about his situation, and he joined, signed up, joined, and said, "This is such a fantastic event. I really feel like people here understand me," and it was just joyous to hear him say it, because it's very busy, Congress. We worry about the fact that it's noisy, it's crowded in places. Our best efforts to try and create quiet areas and cater for people's needs, around sensory overload, it's always difficult to get it right. And he just shone out really as it was just such a positive thing. And I was it happened to be there in his ear, to hear what he had to say. And he's he's gone on to contribute to a number of different initiatives as a person living with dementia, as an expert by experience. And it all started just because he happened to be there that day. And I don't know how he came, but he came along, I think probably with an organisation, and has become one of our major contributors now. And he's very happy to tell us what he thinks, and that's what we need. So that's one tiny example. Jude, you probably have lots of examples too that you can think of.
Yeah, certainly of so I'm a director of a charity that offers arts-based stuff at home for people with dementia as well. And we did a quick presentation at the Congress, and a person living with dementia co-presented, and he hadn't really done that before. And it's just like you see this massive lift in confidence and a radiant delight actually from having contributed. It does make people happy to contribute. So I guess, it is, I think it makes us all very sort of humble, but also very proud that we can enable people to take those steps, be they people living with dementia or professionals, to expand their own comfort zones a little bit and feel really good after it. And it's kind of thing that you can't unlearn once you've presented. So I think, presenting and actually enabling people to have a voice makes a massive difference for them ongoingly. I don't know a way to measure that, but you don't unlearn it, you know, and I think that's really good. I mean, actually, yeah, the person who was videoing for us at the last Congress is actually caring for her mother, who is living with dementia. While we were there, you know, the care alarm's going off and she's having to respond to stuff. But even just being in the environment, I think she was quite surprised. She was there to do a job, not to be a family carer. But there's that whole, you know, because people have complex lives, don't they? And it's just like you're in a space and suddenly it's all right. There were lots of other family carers there, able to share experience, and just to be in an environment where it is the focus and it's understood and there's a language and, you know, an understanding about it, I think really helped her. And I think we've got her for life now, actually, in terms of willingness. So that's a wonderful way to go. And I think, you know, if we can replicate that all over the place, that'd be great. But it takes more than just us. It's going to take everybody else out there who wants to do the same thing with people.
Definitely feels that. And we haven't touched on the challenges for families affected by dementia, you know, just the challenge of getting through a day, let alone coming to Congress. But obviously that made a massive difference to the people who did come along to Congress. You know, it gave them that boost, and I suppose it made them felt like they were part of something bigger and part of something that was quite positive, even though, you know, we're not taken away from the impact of the disease on people's lives. But what do you think are the main challenges for families affected by dementia?
Wow. That patchy services, you know, not joined up, lack of, you know, well, there's still wait for diagnosis for the people who are eager to get one. Although, you know, in a sense, there's more of a press now to have people diagnosed. But there is certainly, I'm certainly aware, and I'm sure others are aware as well, of choppiness after diagnosis about the amount of support, even in areas where there are dementia advisors. You know, there's still this big wait to get any real valued service support. Dementia advisors can't cope with the amount of need. And so, you know, the loneliness and isolation that can come to people living with dementia and their family carers around that. There's a lot of satellite, what I call satellite care, carers not living actually with the person, but still bearing the brunt of balancing often work and looking after an older person who's actually not in their own household. Did it myself for 8 years, and it's not a picnic. Absolutely not a picnic. You know, and yeah, we all know family carers burn out, you know, as a result of not having sufficient support. So it's huge, really. And, you know, what people need is very joined up and nicely collaborative, joint working ecosystem that actually works and people are delighted to be in, and not a system which is aimed at assessing people out of having services. No, I personally find it really frustrating. There's so much, oh yeah, we offer a very person-centered assessment system. We're very person-centered in our service. But actually the assessment system, because of economic reasons, is about filtering people away, not into it. It's not actually genuinely looking at, well, what do you need now? How can we support you now in a preventative way to maintain you where you are now? Never mind, you know, not come back later. At its worst, it feels like come back later when you're a bit worse. And we might be able to do something with you for some people. That's massively frustrating. People get really cross and angry, especially if they're from communities that are diverse and already feeling very overlooked. It's agonizing to hear the stories. So yeah, plenty out there to get better.
I was picking up on your point about preventative. It often feels that people have to be in crisis before they get support. So, we miss out a huge chunk of time where actually some preventative measures would keep people on an even keel, keep them, living as well as they can with dementia. And we miss all of that out and we go straight into the A&E. We're at that point. We're at crisis. Control and decisions have been taken off people. And by missing that preventative stage out, it has a huge impact on people's lives now, and also, family caregivers in the future when they burn out and they end up in the mental health system because of their caring role.
Yeah, and they get further pathologized in the system. I had an experience of when I was caring for my father, who was in having an assessment in acute hospital, and I was told by a psychiatrist, "Get your father out of my hospital. I'll section him if you don't. It's a pressure to get a bed empty." If that was happening to me, where else that's happening? I know that not everybody practices like that, but people are having snippets of experiences like that all over the place, where it's not how can I help, it's how can I not help, or please move on because I need to make space for somebody else. The challenge for us all really is.
It is. Barbara, how do you think Dementia Community can help with this enormous challenge?
There's lots of things I think we can do to help. I think the first thing is that we need to hear from family carers about where there are blocks and challenges in the system and what would make a difference. And I think in terms of our role I think we have a role in raising awareness of these issues and making those people who need to hear, those organisations who need to hear clearly. And that involves collaborating with a number of different organisations who are already active in the field, who are already doing a lot of this work, supporting carers and raising issues on behalf of carers, bringing carers together and looking at ways to make to help people along the journey. I think we can look at where people are being discriminated against. I think people with dementia and family carers, there's still a lot of discrimination, a lot of ageism, a lot of stigma still. Structurally within the system, there are lots of barriers, some of which Jude has touched on, that we need to be raising awareness of and addressing. There are lots and lots of ways I think we can help, but our job is to bring organisations together and to ensure that we validate the work that's already being done in this space, and then add weight to it, add value to it, make it, amplify their voices, and ensure that we have the ear of government as and when that takes shape, and we get dementia and carers taken more seriously than as is the case at the moment. I think actually putting dementia in with other major conditions, is not going to really do what's needed for people living with dementia and family carers. And there's a lot of investment in research which may help people in the future, but there are people now who need support. So there's lots we can do, I think, as Dementia Community. But we need people in the community as well to be telling us, how we can make a difference.
If you were going to spell out how people could get involved to support Dementia Community's mission and activities, what are those key messages that we're asking people to get involved with?
Well, the first thing is to join the community. Join the community. It's £1. It's £1 forever, not just annually. It's £1 forever. So once you've joined, you're a member. So then we can get a real body of support behind what we're doing. So that's the first thing. And then to stand out, make yourself known to us. and let us know what it is that you think we should be working on. In the run up to setting up the Community Benefit Society, we held a number of open space sessions where we invited people to come along and talk about anything they wanted to talk about, in order that we could get a real feel for the sorts of issues that that are needed, that people wanted to raise, that we could use as a sort of calls to action, really. And that's people with dementia, family carers, organisations. A lot of our focus is also on care practitioners, so people on the front line who don't always have the opportunity to come along to conferences. They don't get the chance to access webinars. We want to make sure we put no barriers in the way, and ensure that people working on the front line who fulfill such valuable roles, often are not recognised for what they do, and what they can contribute, what they can tell us. So I think it's stand up, sort of put yourself forward, let us know you're there and who you are, and what it is that motivates you. What are you passionate about? What is it that we can take on as an organisation, as a way of making a difference in this field?
Yeah, it's an interesting world, isn't it, where sometimes you don't know, something's missing, but you don't know what it is. Or you do know what it is. There are many themes that we've touched on today, that we all recognize, don't we? We know to some extent what's not there, but when it comes to individual learning and practice development, sometimes you just don't know because you're not in the space to share the practice. So I would say come along and immerse yourself in the sharing, on the learning. There are many people. I mean, something that some people said back in the 90s. There are lots of really well-meaning people working in care just doing the wrong thing because actually they're not aware of how to do it differently. So just to come and learn, be open to the learning is a big message.
And if you're in a service or in an area where you've got good experiences, where it's done well, where you can model something. So we don't want to focus on everything that doesn't work. We want to focus on where it does work well, because we learn more about what to do if we look at what works well than we look at than looking at things that don't work. If we can get more and more people coming forward who have got innovative approaches in place or in development, or have found ways to join up health and social care in a locality, work where the voluntary sector works really well with the statutory sector, where there is a pathway that seems to be effective for people living with dementia and family carers. Tell us about those experiences. Let's share those models, because those give us a blueprint for what to do in other areas.
Absolutely. And it is also about, you encourage the heart of everybody, I think, involved, if you acknowledge and appreciate where practice is really good, to make sure that it is shared. And individuals who've often put themselves out and gone the extra mile actually to make something new and different happen. It's very challenging for a lot of people to do that. That is celebrated and awarded. So nominating people for an award, even if you don't actually end up being the winner, the nomination is a huge appreciation for somebody as an individual. So nominate away, I say.
It feels like learning and sharing are two of those really key points to Dementia Community. So you hinted at this earlier, Barbara. What events have you got coming up?
Well, the best place to go to find out what we've got coming up is the website. So we're trying to ensure that all the information is on the website, and we're always up to date with it. So the website is journalofdementiacare.co.uk. We have a whole series of webinars. Beth Britton is leading our webinar, organising our webinar series. And we've got 2 webinars a month, and they've really taken off and become very popular. So have a look on our website. You'll see upcoming webinars. And if anybody would like to present on a webinar, we'd love to hear from you, because we want, you know, as much content, rich content from people in our community as possible. And we know there's lots and lots of talent out there that, you know, deserves to be shared. All the work deserves to be shared. We've got the Congress, obviously. So the National Dementia Congress will be in November. We're still finalising the detail of the Congress this year, but it will be November. It'll be a 2-day event, and it will be as good as it's ever been, maybe even better. And again, we'll be looking for people to present. So again, look on our website to keep up to date with that. If you join the community, you'll get a newsletter, and you'll be kept up to date with everything in any case. And then the National Dementia Care Awards will be in Sheffield on the 26th of September at Cutler's Hall. So we're very excited about that. And there will be around 10, maybe 12 categories this year, and we will be looking for nominations very soon. So information about the awards will be available very soon.
Oh, it all sounds very exciting. Have we got any hints whether Congress is coming up north, or is it going down south this year?
No, it's likely to be up north. It's likely to be up north. So as soon as we're very close to finalising the detail, and as soon as we have, you will all be the first to know. So we'll keep you informed. And it's when we sort of started the organisation, I mean, it's worth saying the Journal of Dementia Care has been going for 30 years. So it's not new in that sense, but obviously Dementia Community as a community benefit society is new. And we were established just 2 years ago. And in 2021, we considered, where people still weren't going to things very much in person, and we considered, you know, should we go for a Congress this year? No, that would have been 2022. Should we go for a Congress in 2022? And we made the decision that we would just go all out to do an in-person event, and we really didn't know if people would come along. And it was so uplifting to meet with people in person again. And it wasn't hybrid, it was in person. We said we'll do it in person, because if we do it hybrid, people would just opt for the electronic joining on Zoom. And actually it was really worth doing. So
fantastic. I was just making sure there weren't any questions popping in. So if you
That's
have
right, the screen changed suddenly.
If you have any questions, pop them in the little speech bubble with a little question mark. Write them in there now, and we'll pick them up for our last 10 minutes, if that's okay. When you were talking about it coming, well, when you said it was going to come back up north, I had a flashback to Doncaster. The rains of Doncaster.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we nearly washed away, weren't we?
We all had to get out quick the next day before the river broke, and I had team members with carrier bags over their shoes wading home from Congress because you couldn't get a taxi. Oh my lord, it was an exciting time for everyone.
Yeah.
All right, so if we are going to cast our minds into the future and think about dementia community, where would you like to see it? What would you like to see it doing?
Well, I think anything is possible. I mean, it's absolutely going to depend on whether we capture the imagination of people affected by dementia and affected by dementia in any way. So just depends really on how good a job we're doing in inspiring the community to join with us. We're very minded that the National Dementia Action Alliance folded during COVID, and that has left a space, really. There isn't any other organisation, I think, at the moment providing this sort of national networking platform for people in the dementia care field. There are pockets of excellent practice out there in local areas which everyone needs to know about. So I suppose my best hope would be, if I look 5 years down the line, is that we have, you know, a really active cooperative, a membership organisation that is really taking charge of the future. And there are people who are going to step into our shoes. You know, we're very conscious of the fact that there's a succession planning agenda here, that we need to find people to step into the shoes of the people on the board at the moment. We've got a small board of directors who are elected from the membership, and we're willing veterans, really. We're people who have been around a long time, and the passion hasn't waned in any way, but we do need more people to come on board. So my best hope would be we have a sort of a vibrant, thriving community, which doesn't in any way negate the pain and challenge of what this all means to people. You know, but we put our best foot forward and live our best lives, and we all do that, I think, and that's absolutely exemplified by those people living with dementia who are already high profile and breaking new ground in this field. So more people like that, I think, in our community, and waving the flag.
Yeah, and I completely echo that. I just think that you know, people need hope, and I think the hope of change is a very powerful thing, and I think the community offers that. And if we're doing that for you know, there's a numerical thing about that, but there's also, you know, doing it at good quality, where everybody who comes takes something of value, that they get something, and that they also give something that is very reciprocal.
Thank you. It sounds, well, it is exciting, isn't it? It's exciting for me to listen and think, wait a minute, I came to Congress. Why didn't I become a member? It was only £1. Why didn't I become a member? Because why am I just going on to LinkedIn to look for people when I could have come straight to you and become a member? And that's what I'm going to do after this. I'm going to do that. Absolutely.
Great.
If you have, I might tip us over to 1,001 members. If you have any questions, please put them in now and we will pick them up. Don't think we've got any just yet. Okay, you know, earlier we were talking, I think you talked about dementia being seen as a disability, and it isn't seen as a disability. And I know this is quite an international sort of mission and an issue for people affected by dementia. Are there any steps that as a community we can take around that, do you think, to push that issue forward so that there is greater support for people and greater recognition of the impact that dementia has on the person affected, living with dementia, and also the families around them?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I guess in some ways it's attracting, doing it in a reverse action is getting more medical people to realize the social disability model, perhaps, and to appreciate where it is that people really are, and they are in the community largely. You know, so I think there's some work to do, isn't there, in reframing how people see all of that, and to get in front of people who are, you know, interfacing on primary care services. You know, again, that's a very patchy experience for people. GPs awareness is patchy still, and a bit driven by things other than understanding the social model, I think. So, yeah.
Thanks, Jude. Barbara, did you want to add anything? We haven't got. We've stunned people into silence. So
no, that's all right.
Me, which is always good.
I know. Okay. I mean, I think we have a national platform in order to raise this and debate this and promote this, and so we need to use it. You know, we need to have people from all perspectives talking about this issue, and then we need to publish it in the journal and in other ways. We need to have podcasts about it. We just need to get the message much more widely out there, and that's what we can do, you know. So yeah, that's my answer really. I think
Talk about it.
Talk about it, promote it, write about it, have, you know, interview people about it from all different perspectives in order that it's much more widely understood, and keep on doing it. None of these things happen, you know, change doesn't happen quickly. It's being persevering with it, and being patient with people, because, you know, once we've got it, we can't assume anyone else has got it. We have to really keep on talking
talk people into it. Talk people into it.
And you know, it aligns absolutely with our values, and that's core to our business really, in terms of everything we do. So that's my answer. That's what we'll do. That's what we will do.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much, Jude. It's been an absolute pleasure spending an hour with you this afternoon. Oh, Karen said no questions, but I think the more methods of sharing info, podcasts sound fab, and the more accessible to everyone. Brilliant. Thank you so much. That's lovely. Thanks, Karen.
Karen.
Our next webinar is on the 27th of March, and it's with HC1 Scotland. They'll be sharing their work, so I'm really looking forward to finding out more about that. Barbara, Jude, if I offer you the last word, is there anything else you want to say?
Join the community.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, join and
become a community member.
Yeah,
it's just £1, just £1 for life.
Yeah,
forever.
For life. For life.
For life.
Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a lovely afternoon.
Thanks then.
Take care. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Bye.